Hey, 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 hey. I cannot believe we are doing this second time, and this is a great honor for both of us. I want to, Roger, before we begin, I want to tell you why I wanted this event to be live again,
Okay.
because I want to keep the records straight. I want the history to remember this moment in time, because when we read comic books at our age now, I mean, when we were young, we read comic book because it was heroic, it was fun. But now we are adult. We want these books to have a history, and they're meant to have a history. I mean, Master Kim Sanom, he left us a bunch of history, but those history has been lost, and the internet is really bad about keeping this history accurate, right?
Agreed.
So, and that's why I wanted this history to be, because how often do you get to speak to the legend? How often? You don't.
You don't.
You, you don't speak to the legend. So this is a great honor for both of us, and I want to keep this legend, and I want to keep, because some of the stuff Master Kim has done, they are lost. They are lost in the internet somewhere, and if and some of the information is just completely wrong, and we will be remembering wrong person, wrong piece of art, wrong piece of story. Uh, so that is why when we first met him, I was so thankful. And it was such an honor. But this video, this stream is about keeping recovering the historical record. That's what this is all about. What do you think, Roger? Uh, wh- I mean, I take it on, because I'm speechless, Roger.
Well, and I can't blame you because as exciting as it was to talk to Master King the first time, I'm doubly excited this time for all the reasons you stated. We've learned a lot since then as well about once we start researching. And you're right. I think the internet has done a great disservice to Master Kim and a lot of other creators as well, because the comic or the graphic novel medium is so expansive. It's now well over 80 years old, and there's thousands of different creators out there. But I think we think, right, that Master Kim's legacy is one that needs to be told, needs to
Yes,
be
yes,
highlighted,
yeah,
because it has such rich culture. It has so many unique aspects to it, and like you said, there's not a lot of talk about it, and there's not a lot of um, confirmed or accurate representations of it out there. And so I guess somehow it's fallen upon us a little bit to bring that to light. And
yeah.
so that's why I'm with you 100%. Some of the things that are out there, sometimes you get it if you get it from the, perhaps this is not a good parallel, but when you get it from a horse's mouth, and I don't mean to in any way um, put Master Kim in that kind of comparison, but we get it from the source, and that is
Right.
the most accurate representation of what we're doing. We get it from the source, not from secondhand or not from some kind of hearsay or article. So you're right. What we're doing here today, I think, is very important for the historical record and for the legacy of Master Kim.
And the chat room, you guys are also witness to this event. Don't discount yourself as just a chat room operators. You guys are witnessing event. You are actually seeing the event happening as a, so you, I don't, that way when I tell you Master Kim said this, you guys are my witness, right?
Right.
Ron, right? So I mean, Roger, I think it's we need to bring Master Kim in and let this history unfold. And
let's go.
Yep. Okay. Come on. 화백님.
Hello.
Those. Okay, let me try to fit that. Okay, let me put that. Okay, there you go.
There you go.
Oh, 화백님, welcome, 화백님. 정말 환영입니다.
I don't know how you got me, but I'm in Seoul, Korea now.
Well, that's the great thing about the internet age, is that we are much more. We can reach out to further out places and find specific people like yourself. Otherwise, if there wasn't this kind of technology, we would never have found you.
Thank you. Okay.
All right. So let's 화백님 한국말로도 괜찮으신데?
예, 좋죠. 네.
예. 한국말로 저기 한번 이렇게 우리의 이런 자리를 어떻게 생각하세요? I want to use this.
영광입니다.
예.
내가 1968년에 미국을 들어가서 처음에 이제 찰턴 오고 카믹북을 하다가 75년에 5년부터 내가 패션 비즈니스를 했어요.
네.
그러다가 내가 미국을 떠났는데 그리고 나서 지금 거의 이 카믹북 월드를 내가 잊어버리고 있었다고. 근데 오늘 날 찾아주니까 너무 영광이고 너무 해피하고 또 옛날 그 노스탈지아가 막 다 지금 살아납니다.
노스탈지아가 살아나신데. So he's saying that he was in a fashion business. He is more in a historical business now, and but as we comic book community are reaching out to him, and now he remembers the nostalgia. He remembers what he used to do for Charlton, and he was far away from comic book world. He's still doing art, as you could tell. That is gorgeous looking art room. But 정말 it's our honor. It's our honor.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
You may have gone to other things, Master Kim, but in my heart, you never left. Your art and your stories and your style has been with me for 50 years. So now I hope that you can see that there's people like us that have never forgotten you and have always held you in high esteem when it comes to creators of this graphic form of storytelling.
Yes, actually, I went to the Manchuria at that time, and then I happened to find one of all the forgotten Korean history, and I thought, God gave me the talent to describe all this. It's my duty. I felt that. So that's when I started to do all those history books like that, There's many over history book I made. And that's really nothing much to do with the U.S., comic book, era. So that I just stayed here and I tried to finish all these books. I'm still working on it.
Well, I can't believe you. 지금까지도 그림을 그리시고 있다는 작업을 하고 계신다는 게 왜 정말 그게 저희한테 뜻밖입니다. 그렇게 할 수 있다는 게 지금 제가 62살이거든요. 저도 그림을 그리고 싶어요.
Yeah, I'm 86 now.
그러니까는 아직도 한 20년이 남아 있구나 하는 게.
I hope I look as good as at your age as when I get there.
I'm very, very happy to you guys find me finally and bring me back to the light.
You know,
Well,
well, you deserve it.
we
화백님한테
you have no idea how ecstatic NammaN and I were when we found you, Master Kim. We didn't sleep that night. I don't think when we noticed that, when we heard that you were going to do an interview with us. So that's how
I
excited we
appreciate it. I feel guilty now.
were. No, not at all. It's an honor beyond belief for us. Trust me.
Okay, let's go to the next topic.
Okay,
I know that we're going to talk about LiFi.
Lyphie. That's
LiFi.
that's the Lyphie.
Right there. Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
this is the guy Lyphie, same age the Superman in US.
릴자,
Leo,
릴자가
yes,
Superman S, right?
that's that. Can you see it?
Oh yeah.
That
Yes.
is the real. That's the first letter for the Lyphie.
네, 근데 우리가 화백님이 좀 특이하다는 게, 화백님이 제일 특이하다는 게 그 시대 1959년이었죠?
Yeah,
예.
yeah, yeah,
그
yeah.
시대에 남자 주인공만 아니라 힘센
어.
남자 주인공만 아니라 여자 주인공도 있고
Yeah.
또 거기에 그러니까는 우리
노기 여왕.
노기 여왕
어,
나쁜 사람도 여자고
예.
예? 그러니까 다
맞습니다.
강하잖아요.
음.
지금 우리가 볼 때는 그게 되게 1959년에서 그런 아이디어가 있다는 게 되게 프로그레스인데 그때 그걸 받아줬어요? 한국 사람들이 그때?
그럼요. 그러니까 이 책이 지금 한국에서 그렇게 많이 유명했던 책입니다. 아마 대한민국 도서 역사상 최고로 많이 팔린 책이에요.
그러니까 우리 한국의 풍습은 여자는 뒤에 있고 남자가 앞에 서는 거잖아. 근데
그렇지.
근데 저기 화백님은 그
제비양.
예,
제비양.
제비양
미스 제비.
그 사모님을 또 말로 쓰셨고.
Actually, that wasn't my wife wasn't mother. This book before I met my wife.
오케이.
Oh wow.
At that time, my wife was I was in New York, and she attended to FIT, fashion school in New York. So that's how I met.
So
But
that's
after I got her, then I found out she very look like my heroine. So many people made a story like that.
I see.
Nice.
Actual fact is this is actual fact.
See that? See it? So that the what I just recited was internet fact, and this is the real fact.
All right. At that time, after Korean War, we destroyed everything. Nothing but ash in this country,
Right.
and the little kids need something to motivate. They have something to look up.
Yes.
That's when I saw the Superman from the U.S. military. So when I look up the Superman, and that's it. This is the kind of things what Korea need. Those little kids, I have to build them up. Their dream up.
I
So I said, what's going to be the Korean Superman?
see. Right.
Yeah, for the science or anything else, Korea is so far behind, 100 years behind.
Right.
But for the drawing the comic book, that's easy. I can catch up just like that,
right.
So
Right.
okay, in America, you have a Superman, we have a Lyphie.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. That's how it borns,
Right.
Then I at that time the name of the Lyphie is the still problem because after I made LIFI, that's I'm trying to register Korean government proper noun.
Oh, I see.
But
see.
I couldn't do that. I denied because the government say that it's common noun, you know. That's
really?
it cannot be proper. Well, because of Wi-Fi, Li-Fi now.
Oh.
See, it's common, you know. This is a Li-Fi era, right? We are going past to the Wi-Fi now, the Li-Fi era. So 50 years, 60 years ago, I read one science book, you know, for the futures. Then sometime long future, we're gonna be you know, Li-Fi era.
Right.
At that time, we using the like all those telephone with the line on it.
Oh, right.
Landline,
But I have to create something without a line.
Right.
Because Miss Jebi is to control the airplane, and the LiFi is on the ground. They need some sort of communication, but it cannot be wire. So I read the book, SF book. Then I found out sometimes future, like 100 years. That book says, you know, long futures. We may have this is kind of you know line. So,
Wow.
some kind of Wi-Fi line, like a Wi-Fi, Li-Fi line.
Wow. Hold on. This is I wasn't going to spend this much time on this thing. 저 번역해드릴게요. He's saying, Li-Fi is supposed to be Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
He was creating a Li-Fi universe, wireless universe with the Li-Fi.
Yep.
And he wanted to register Li-Fi, but the Korean government would not let him register because it was too close to Wi-Fi. And but I never saw those comic books, but he's developed a comic book story where there's communications and how the airplanes were operating, all wireless communication. He already established at the time wireless communication, and yes, he was inspired by Superman, American comic book. He was near a military base. He was inspired by military base. I'm assuming when the military guys read comic books like Superman, I'm sure that's where he got his sources from, because we didn't have it. And the Superman was from America, and then at the time, America was technically, 10 times, fall that much ahead.
Yeah,
but
a bit more advanced.
Yeah. So he's saying, hey, I just want to come out with a technology that's like America. And that's why he come out with these all kind of gadgets and things like that for this Li-Fi character. And that's amazing that how much he imagined for the children of Koreans. 안 그렇습니까?
Let me help you to understand a little bit more.
Okay.
The Superman is a spaceman.
Right.
You know, he's not dying. You know, he can fly, he can do everything. But Lyphie is Earthman.
Right.
He's man.
Right.
So he cannot fly.
Mm-hmm.
So only way he can fly, or we can move one point to another. We using another airplane, small airplane, which is controlled by Miss Jebi, the lady. Huh? She's the one who controls.
She's a co-pilot.
Yeah, he's the main pilot.
Main pilot, yeah.
And she just give a long, like a rope to him. You know, then this guy jumped to holding it. Then Jebi airplane is pull him up, like very fast. That's how he moves to one point to another point very fast, because you cannot use airport. You know, this can move to any place, very easily. Then let the loaf out. He holding it, and then pull it up, then go. So this is kind of situation I have to create because he's not a spaceman.
He's
I
like
mean, he he's not like I mean, the Superman. You know, you are not dying. He's not dying. The bulletproof, huh?
but
This is a human.
he's like a Batman though. Batman.
It's more like a Batman. Okay,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
more like a Batman.
Right.
But you know, Superman type of Batman. Okay,
Yeah.
these two combined, that's the LiFi.
Right. And also you use the female character as a main character. She's basically a guy in the chair. She controls airplanes. And
Right, she's the pilot, you know, lady
그러니까-
pilot. That's
그러니까는-
the Jebi, Miss
그러니까
Jebi.
제비 양 때문에 이 라이프라는 이 히로가 홍길동처럼 그러니까 홍길동이
Right.
홍길동이
Yeah.
된 거네. 제비
So
때문에.
I will show you later. Jebi Yang, but 2 minutes animation.
Uh-huh.
After this program, I will show you.
Okay.
I will send it to you, and then you can you know, help you to understand what
Okay.
really LiFi all means. And why this we talk about LiFi so long, because that was so important at that time. And all those Koreans, like Samsung's executive, you know, the president, when those guys was young, that's the book they read.
Right.
And that's how they got the dream. And
Right.
they went to the United States or Europe or something. They study about it. And then today, they are leader of Koreans' big
Technology.
communication. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like
Right.
he was president of Samsung or, you know, like that.
Yeah. So basically he's saying which is true of American comic books too.
Yeah.
He's basically saying he imagined great things, and the children who grew up imagining the great things build great things, right? I mean, and that's why it's so big deal for Korea, and that's why it was big deal for America. This is why it was so big deal for Korea too, because Master Kim started story like LiFi. And
That's the
very
main
important.
reason why this LiFi is so important. That's why even Korean national president, they give me a medal for that. They
Awesome.
just honor me for that, you know.
Yeah, it inspired a generation there.
Oh,
From
yes.
what I can tell.
It's a lot
because-
more important than you guys thinking.
Yeah,
Well,
sure.
well,
I mean, you know how anything is, right? I mean, in order to advance, you have to have vision and imagination, and you have to have the will to process that forward. And so you have to inspire people. And I think that's what you're the gist of what you're saying is that it has to motivate and inspire people.
근데 제가 볼 때는 그때부터 그런 생각까지 하시고 그때부터 여자도 그런 자리에 갖다 놔는 여자들도 같이 강해지고 그 여자들도 할 수 있다. 그리고 어린 아이들은 이런 걸 만들 수 있다. 이런 게 우리나라를 부흥하게 할 수 있는 그런 힘이 된 거 아니에요. 그러니까는 that's why you deserve it. You deserve that presidential nomination.
Absolutely.
I'm too mad.
Especially this book. I mean, most of the leader is boys.
Right.
Boys loves girl. The girl should be the heroine, you know.
and 그리고
oh yeah, go ahead.
여자가 강한 게
Oh yes.
여기서부터가 그러니까 라이프에서 스탑한 게 아니더라고요 보니까.
Always.
계속 you have a very strong female characters in your books.
Let me educate you a little bit.
Okay.
This is something you never heard about. Many people, even the you keep mentioning about the Korean lady is very quiet and they obey to the man. It lasts 500 years. That's because of China. The Korean philosophy was changed at that point. But real Korean is the nomad. Nomad people, all the northern area, they with the Fun, like Fun people, Fun tribe, Mongolian tribe. This is the kind of Korean is. So they are very active. So
Right.
they always move around to the war and they keep dying, in the war. Then who left? Lady.
Right.
So actually, Korean lady, we called Anhe. Anhe means inside the sun, the sun in domestically. Yeah?
Right.
So that they are control. They are center of the family, not man. Man, we call the Nageune. Nageune means come and go. But lady always stay there. So
Right.
they control the family. This is the nomadic people, and that's pure Korean. Now, last 500 years, I want to erase it, off, because that's not real Korean. But
Wow.
now, today, we become the nomadic spirit back to the
Mm.
Korean. And the Lyphie story, or all those things, I'm trying to bring it back.
Right. Right.
Our real character.
Ah. Wow.
I'm still fighting. And I didn't finish my job, but I'm also getting old. I feel very anxious.
아유, 많은 하셔야 됩니다.
Okay, that's a small history lesson.
All right. All right.
Very important.
Okay, let's
one,
go.
though. It explains a lot. It explains a lot about your female characters. Absolutely. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
didn't come here to educate that. So
Yeah.
forget
No,
that.
it's context, though. It's context for what we're trying to do. Yeah, for sure.
No, we're trying to 이게 우리가
Keep the record
역사를
straight.
역사를 기록하려는 거잖아요. We want to keep
Right.
the record accurate. 그래서
It's
그걸
my philosophy behind.
so awesome.
And
awesome.
this is why I'm still doing all the history books, like this kind of history books.
Because
So I keep doing this.
you're a historian, you're an artist,
Yeah.
but you're a historian first, right?
Actually, I'm a comic book artist. That's how we started.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then in my college times, I'm only one person who majored Eastern art and the Western art simultaneously.
Right.
Other students study in one subject is very difficult, but
Right.
to me, I have to understand both. I have to know the Eastern art is very deep. I also have to know the Western art. That's the things I should follow. So I majored both. I studied twice
Wow,
harder.
that's interesting, isn't it, NammaN?
Yes,
That's very
yes.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm trying
Awesome.
to do something in United States, but their system, doesn't allow me to have much of freedom. Maybe time goes by, I start to explain to you, what happened in United States in the comic world. And,
That's a good segue. 제가 이제 그 라이프를 쓰시고 그때 한국에서 또 약간 문제가 있었잖아요.
그렇죠.
한국에서도 이제 그 전쟁 끝나고 나서 이제 정부를 새로 차리고 있으니까
맞죠.
그러니까는 좀 문제가 있었는데 그 문제를 이제 화백님은 그걸 이제 expression을 해야 되니까 artistic expression 하셔야 되니까 제가 듣기로는 미국으로 이제 이민 오셨는데 그 미국에 오셔도 you have a still censorship problem, right?
he should not know all this, but I don't know how he investigates. Now he's an investigator.
NammaN is a detective at heart. Let me just tell you
I
that.
give up. Actually, let me explain to you what happened. So at that during I draw all those comic book in Korea. That's when I just finished. We just finished the war, to the communists. And the Korean intelligence is very, very sensitive about all the sabotage, guerrilla spy from the north. So they looked, they examined all those papers we work, whatever we do. One of the story was I was drawing the red star in my comic books for the bad people. So red star, that's the symbol of all those bad guys at that time. But during I'm doing the series books, red star team is winning. But next book is going to be upset. But my intelligence in Korea was they holding the book up to there, and how come red team is winning our Democrat? It cannot be. This is a very bad influencing to the kids, and this sort of censorship. I understand what they are saying exactly, but as a comic book artist or any kind of author, don't want that,
Right.
don't want it influenced by them.
Right.
And I thought, okay, America is a big country, leading country, freedom country, and the Democrat is born from there. That's how I think. And I went there. Then, like what he say, you have another kind of censorship, but that's a different kind of censorship. That's for trying to protect the children.
Right.
That's very different,
Right.
Was sort of the
So Korean censorship is trying to, keep the country safe, but the other one is for the children. Right. So I don't have any objection, but men like me have a lot of restriction. I cannot do this. I cannot do that. I cannot, show you the blood coming out, or I think this and that. Many restriction. I was dizzy.
Let me give you a little perspective here.
Okay.
Let's assume that you're a comic book creator in the United States, and you drew the Nazi symbols, right?
Right.
And you have that Nazi team winning in the book. You got that Nazi team winning. Well, the government comes down and say, "Hey, you cannot have a Nazi team winning." That's a kind of that's kind of censorship that he had to deal with, and it was very authoritarian. I mean, they were still developing. The country was still developing as a country, and that kind of a dictatorship was probably very difficult for artists like Master Kim to handle. And he come to the United States, and he has to handle. But the censorship, like a comic code.
Yeah, much less of a censorship because it wasn't like he was saying. It's not based upon the different political aspects of what he was saying, but protect the children because of the Wortham trials and all that.
Right.
Yeah. We do have a few questions, NammaN. I don't know if you want to handle those now or later.
Go ahead. Ask away.
Yeah, you may.
Well, there are a few people are asking about, like, is there anywhere that they can find Lyphie to like some of your work from Korea? Is there anywhere, any publication or any reprints, anything like that?
Oh, of course, this is all my books. I'm making a lot of books in Korea.
아니요. 지금 라이파이 그 책을 그 리프린트나 그 라이파이 리프린트가 있냐고요.
라이파이?
네.
라이파이?
그게 있냐고요. 그걸 어디서 그걸 살 수 있냐고요.
Very difficult now, and very, very expensive now.
I know.
I mean, unbelievably expensive. You cannot afford it.
I mean, it's like 그런 지금 그걸 구입하려면 그런 책을 구입하려면 지금 over $1 million, right?
Yeah.
그런 구입을 그러는 게 그런데 리프린트는 한국에서는 리프린트 안 하나요?
it doesn't allow.
Okay. Wait a second. 그리고 그 만화책 옛날에 만화방에서 있었기 때문에 그 책이 we didn't restore it, all of it.
There is one guy who holding it the very first issue of LiFi, and he costs so expensive.
Right.
But he's not going to sell it. Although any case, he's not gonna sell it.
Uh-huh.
So that it price doesn't mean anything. It came
Uh-huh.
onto the auction in
Uh-huh.
Korea,
Uh-huh.
but it's more than 1억 won, huh?
Uh-huh.
So that but somebody offered to get it, but he's not gonna sell it. Even I asked him if he can.
He won't even sell it to you either.
No.
Okay.
Maybe after I die, if I will create my own museum, he may donate to that, but not to me.
So there's no hope of it being ever reprinted and redistributed or anything like that.
I could, but I won't.
Also 어떤 책은 아예 없잖아요. 어떤 거 디스트로이드가 없잖아요. 아예.
What Roger's saying is that if I can reprint it, I can do it again.
Yeah.
I made some like a similar books, but I that let it go. It has its own value. Like it's like a legend.
Okay.
I don't have
fair.
to bring back to the legend.
Okay.
Just to show you, yeah, right. Right.
I understand exactly what you want, but
okay, all right. I was just relaying the question because something of that kind of historical importance, a lot of people, it's kind of like shrouded in mystery because nobody in the Western world has ever seen it.
Yeah, right.
So there's some curiosity there. So
we'll find something for you.
Okay, well, I'm just saying. Also, the people are asking, do you have any original art from your comic book days?
No,
none of that.
That's such a long time ago. And I moved, to the I went to the Saipan Pacific. Like I was doing the submarine, like underwater submarine business for a while. Then I moved to the United States, then back to here, then Manchuria to coming back. It's all disappeared.
Gotcha. Well, that's a shame.
Very poor excuse, but anyway.
No, not a poor excuse. It's totally understandable.
That's
especially
the fact.
What am I
supposed to do?
At that time, original art was not considered, like now it is now, which is now it's incredibly expensive, as you can see what your Dragon Woman art went for.
Oh yeah. I like that. The Dragon Woman.
Yeah. So because all original art is one of one, so you're never going to get another one of that. So that's actually cheap. That's actually cheap for what it is, honestly. So.
That's art.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. What's the next question?
Okay. You want me to start on part 2, NammaN?
Yeah.
You may.
Okay. So we're asking you now. You are the first Korean to work on a major comic book publisher since the Golden Age. There were some way back when, but not sporadic. Did you feel like, I think I asked you this in the previous interview, but did you feel like any kind of pressure being that kind of that unique, being in that unique circumstances, or was it you're just focused on your work and not on anything else about what you're trailblazing at that point?
I understand your question. I have a little, problem to answer to that. The reason is maybe I don't want to offending, so too much of United. I mean, the kind of circumstance or the kind of format what they have. But come to think of it, when I come to the United States, there is 4 big comic books like a company, like a Dell Publishing, Marvel Publishing, Classic, then Charlton's. There's 4 big one. I just looked through the telephone book, and that's what I found in Charlton. Okay. So I just called them up, and then I met with their chief editor, Mr. Gentile, and he say, okay, you come to Korea, I'm interested, and you come over to their office. The Charlton Comics at the Hartford, Connecticut. That's near the New Haven. So
Right.
I went to by train. Then Mr. Gentilis came to the train station to pick me up.
Uh-huh.
Then I found out, Charlton Comics company is so huge. The company I never even dream about. They have their own, printing machine and the
That's
big,
right.
like a gigantic, editing office. This is a really dream company. So I don't know which one is better or not, but I joined there. Then since I becomes one of their team member, it's the same as I becomes maybe Yankee members. Then I do my best to win the World Series for Yankees.
Right,
So
right, right.
that's I'm one of them. I become they pick me up and they scout them, and I become their team.
Right,
So I
right,
respect their teams, the system.
right.
But they do have editor. Then after editing, they have a story creating team,
Right.
lead by Jogyo, and then they have several story writer, under there. Then after that, they give us a script.
Mm-hmm.
Then they give it to me as a script. The script saying is like a scenario.
Right.
Scene number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So every page by 6, and this first scene is this. The dialogue is this. Second one is like they fixed already,
Mm-hmm.
and I cannot go over.
Right.
So that I just follow beginning, what kind of power I have. So I have
Right.
nothing, no power. So whatever they ask me to do, I just done it.
Right.
So I become so famous in Korea. Well, that doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything, right?
Yeah, right. So I just follow. That's how I make my living too, But after for a while, I start to get sick, I don't want to keep doing this kind of thing all the time. It's not so I ask them to if I can change the story or like this.
Oh,
Then Mr. Jogyo is jumped on me, and you now step onto my my territory, huh? That's their territory. You want to take my job? Oh my goodness! I'm trying to win the team. So they make Charlton win it, but they don't thinking that way. His position, his part is more important. So I don't want to offend their situation, So
Gotcha.
that's okay. I follow you. So I got another year like that. So I made a lot of books. Something I don't like, a story I disagree. It doesn't make even sense. And that's not for the children. But later on, I understood that most of their books they give to the military PX. Huh? So
Right.
all the U.S. Army, they read the books, but they don't want long story, because of their duties. So they making the small, short story. 2 to 3 story always in one comic book.
right.
To me, it's you cannot say anything in such a circumstance. You cannot make a good episode,
Uh-huh.
Right.
So it's really I disagree, but I want to move to other company, but that I feel like I betray them. You cannot betray us like this. So okay, it's in order to do that, I have a big argument with them. One day, with good faith, I want to change story just a little bit. So they allow me to do it. So that's the first day I changed the story, and accordingly I break the panel. All those monster, 6 panel. It's like a jail.
Yeah.
It's like a jail. You have to do it, like exactly that.
Right.
But that's not how you want to do it. As a creator, that's give me too much of a limit, the handcuffed. So I changed all that. Then again, I found out that there is no sound in comic book. Huh? For the movie at that time, like you have a banner, I like the big screen, and they created all those new movie music, sound, all the sounds effect. But I cannot do all of that. So I have to create the letter to feel like the sounds. So you cannot hear it, but when you look at it, you can use your imagination. What is happening in that circumstance. So that's how I try it, little bit, a little bit more, little bit more. Then later on, he's this guy, the story writer, is so fed up with me that you wanna do it, you do it. So okay, I will do that. So that's how I start to do it, and then I already prepare to move another company. And then I did not know that I'm allowed to go to another company, but it's some in New York, like Warren Publishing, or some of the companies start to contact me. You don't have to stay there. you can do your own things here. See, this is the behind the story. I don't think nobody gonna tell you about this.
No.
But this is the first time you hear what is happening in there.
Yeah.
So under that circumstance, what can you do? My handcuff tied, I'm completely tied. I cannot do much more. So later on, when I start to do those like a pamphlet, that type, huh? Warren Publishing, they have a few my scripts also. Yeah, that's Yongyo. Yongyo is the one of a magazine. That's the Warren, the pamphlet. That's the title. So I give the behind the story is that during the Korean War, U.S. Army involved with some kind of dragon lady in Korea, but that's the old creation, my creation. I try to make more interesting to them. That's creator. Comic book artist is a creator, no? So that's what I done.
I mean,
if they give me the more freedom, I'm sorry, but his question is very, very sharp, so I have to answer to that.
Oh, you brought a lot of insight. A lot of the questions that I had, you actually answered them in that answer.
Already, yeah? You did not know.
No, I did not. I mean,
no. We did not know this.
No, we did
at
not
all.
know. That's why we're asking you these questions, because sometimes you draw conclusions based upon little bits of fact, but now we're hearing it from you. It makes perfect sense.
This is awesome.
Maybe I'm the only one who felt it that way. Let me back up a little bit.
I doubt. I mean, you lived through it. I mean, you are the kind of the oracle for this kind of a facet of this industry at that point, because a lot of
they get more freedom to do, then I can really do a lot of books, like this. This is kind of things, that's a Buddhist, story, but this is all by English.
By the way, that's all painting. That's
all
hand
oil
painting.
Yep.
Yeah. But this is kind of thing I want to do over there. But if this cannot make money, the publishing company won't move.
That would have been too radical at the time for them, I'm sure. Yeah.
Right. That's too early.
Yeah. Too early. Yeah. You're
much
way ahead of your time,
early.
Master Kim.
Right.
You're 40 years ahead of your time there.
That's correct. I'm too early. I agree with that. So that this is another reason why I have to leave the comic book area. I something I want to do, I cannot do.
Yeah, that's amazing stories.
But you were still able to break some barriers, because you got to do Bloody Mermaid, and you got to do The Promise, and you got House of Yang in there, which were very for American, the Western world. Those were very different types of stories than anything we have seen here before.
Hey, all that I have to really bloody fight with the in editing team. But
Wow.
after that, the reaction was good. That's when they start to change it, change their
Ah.
mind.
Ah.
But think about this Bloody Mermaid is one of them. I made, I gave them a great story, and if they give me more chance, then I can make many good series. But in there, let me show you one thing. Yeah? This is the page. Is the problem?
Yeah, the cat story. Yeah,
Yeah, the cat.
the cat.
So
yeah.
I give them something very unusual things. This is a story, but because of this scene, they receive thousands of letters from the all over United States. Those also animal lovers.
Wow.
They really this Korean guy does not know what's because of this code, because so they protest. Then finally the company asked me, trying to handcuff me again. So
Right.
then I cannot do, all those House of Yang, this kind of thing is that kung fu at that time, taekwondo. This is taekwondo is a Korean martial art, but at that time I made all those like Junri is the Korean taekwondo. I mean, he's at the Washington.
Right.
All this kind of a book. Taekwondo is such understand, but they don't know taekwondo means. So they call the Korean karate. Karate is Japanese. It comes from the Okinawa, but originally comes from the Korean Sanbyeolcho. When the Korean Sanbyeolcho, like army, they moved to Okinawa, they create all this taekwondo, and that's how Japanese got it. Now all history is lost. So they don't know where it comes from. So everybody think the karate is the one, and taekwondo follow the karate. That's not it. So that's I made another taekwondo history book. This all those kung fu story. This is all leading to the taekwondo area, but then I stopped in between. So. That's our disappear.
Yeah. Well, that's another question we were gonna ask you, in that you have very innovative panel designs to show things like martial arts and the progression of the fight,
yes.
like the thin panels, and like you did on the Bloody Mermaid, where the cat, where it was taken through the progression. You don't show the actual ingesting of the cat, but you obviously know what's happening. In other words, you're telling a story without having to put text there. So is that that technique, is that something that you learned from Korea, or is that something you developed yourself? How did that come about, or is that story intended? Like every story will decide that.
That's 100% mine.
Okay.
In order to do that, it wasn't easy. I was fighting with them. They didn't like it because they thought this is something very something they're not used to it. But I have to do that. I'm a creator, I'm an artist, so I have to do my own way. I'm very eager to that, So I fight with them. It wasn't easy to come up with something like that. Today is you are free, but at that time, I don't know why United States is so restricted everything. I come to the United States to freedom, but then again, I'm in the another kind of restriction.
Restrictions.
So
Yeah.
I cannot continue to do that because I cannot breathe. So as an artist, I want to do a lot of things. It's my own way. But I couldn't do that. So and finally, I made that Sword Edge is one of my book trying to make a series. Yeah, but yeah, I couldn't. That's it, and I couldn't continue because one of the publisher. Yeah, the publisher is like he's the Jewish.
Go ahead, show it again.
Oh yeah.
Manchuria, he's the Jewish people. And I think their family say that they should not going into this kind of like a book business because the kind of story is not against their principle. Something I don't know what it is, but this is a comic book. This is a new world, and they again I restrict there. So unless I'm doing my own publication, I cannot. Just do that.
Okay.
I was a lot of fighting.
그러면 워런 가시에서는 조금
Warren Publishing give me more freedom than any other people. They say that you do whatever you want to do. Finally I got breakthrough. Something heaven.
Well, they weren't restricted by the comics code because they were magazine formats. So you had a little more liberties with the violence and things like that. Yeah.
Until I discovered that it took a few years. But then finally I found the Warren. If I stayed in that business, then I really could do a lot of things with them. I didn't do much, manuscript with the Warren. I think 3 or 4 of that. Then I switched.
그런데 이 워런에서는 1971년도에 쓰셨거든요. 그러니까 찰턴으로 다시 와서 그때 저기 고슬리 테러를 하신 것 같은데.
아니 같이 했어.
같이 했어요?
네. Because I went to the Warren and to do that, then Charlton bend over a little bit. Because I'm gonna go over there.
Oh, you had a little leverage over them.
That's how I learned the American way. I did not know. I supposed to follow their rule, at the beginning. But from there, I started getting clever. So, this is how you want to do it. That's American way.
I have to play hardball with you to get anything done, right?
You do understand what I'm saying, right?
Wow.
All right, I'm gonna ask one more question, NammaN, and then I'll get you to continue the questions because this is something I really I wanted to emphasize with you, Master Kim, and that your stories, a lot of them, like the Promise and the Bloody Memory, you do everything. You did the inking, you did the writing, you did the art, you did the lettering. I don't know, did you do the coloring too? I mean, your talent is way beyond the, sometimes people are very niche. They're pencilers, they're inkers, they're colorists, they're letters, but you could do it all. I mean, how is that something that you, like when you went to school, is that something that they covered, or did you just develop that talent over time?
Like I say, I graduated the first art college in Korea that called Sarabor, and then I majored in Oriental art, like a Korean arts, all those black and white painting, the Korean art. Then Western art is for the oil painting. Right. I'm still doing that. This is why any kind of a subject, in my atelier, I can create, has no problem. In at the United States, I use some Oriental technique to show to them it's something new, a new kind of format, new kind of arts, new kind of story. I just don't want to do all those kind of Superman, Batman style.
Right.
So I trying to give them something very new, fresh. This is why I have no problem to handle any kind of illustration.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, great.
Wow.
Okay, NammaN, you want to go to the next part there?
So we on let me look at it. We're doing the
This is funny because I was talk to the Roger now. Mr. Nam is he forgotten his question.
no.
Okay.
I'm trying to maintain the list of questions here, but yeah, Roger, go ahead. What's our next section is where we're talking about Soul's Edge. 그리고
Say that again.
화백님,
예,
지금 한
예.
시간이 됐는데
예.
더 오래 해도 돼요?
아, 상관없어요 나는.
Okay. I just got permission from him to do more than 1 hour, so
Okay.
so we could continue. And
Okay.
Your question was regarding panel, right?
Right.
And then we are on a not a panel, but we are on a let's go to the chat room for a little bit. Any question from the chat room? Oops, what happened?
Oh, where'd he go?
화백님 어디 가셨어요? Got
Where'd he go?
disconnected.
You sure you got him to more than 1 hour? You sure you said that correctly?
No, he said, oh, there he is.
Okay.
아, 도망가신 줄 알았네. 도망가신 줄 알았어.
Somehow we got a problem, but
There is a question from Damien about Master Kim, did you know anything about at the time about the underground comics? Was that something that you explored or anything like that?
I have a couple underground comic book too at that time, but that's not. They gave me a lot of manuscript fee, huh? So I give them a few for that, but that's not my kind. That's not my would.
Okay. I mean, because sometimes when you think about creative freedom, some people went that way but again, they went more into the drug and sex.
That's a little bit too much.
I didn't think that was your cup of tea, but it was a question, so I asked.
Okay, this is what we do. Can you see it?
Mm-hmm.
This means the Korean is Han Wei. Han is Korea. Wei is Japan. And Korea, Japan is one family. Actually, they're fighting so hard. It's like England and Scottish, or Britain and Korea, or the United States. They're like a same family, but they fought so long. So this is the book I'm telling them. Japan is built by Korean immigrant. It's like Australia, the British immigrant built the Australia. Like Japan is all last 2,000 years, Korean immigrants went there, and they are the one who built this Japan. They didn't come from the heaven, That's the history. So who went there, when, and what they done. And this is kind of, that's the book, like that. Huh?
Yeah. It's all, and it's all.
Wow.
This is kind of things, you see?
Yes.
All painted,
Wow.
All painting, oil painting.
Wow.
And this is kind of 1,600 pages. And I just finished by Japanese translation, and soon I will do the English too.
Wow.
Because I want so this is kind of thing I'm doing before I finish.
Wow, that's quite a project there.
Okay, let's go back to your comic book story again.
Yeah, okay. Let's go to the 저기 let's go back to this. I think this is it. No, not that one. No,
Maybe Ghostly Tales.
no, Ghostly Tales. Yeah,
Promise?
Ghostly. Yeah, Ghostly Tales. Let's go back to this. 네, 제가 처음에 물어봤을 때는 여자들이 다 강력한 여자들이잖아요.
예.
아직까지 여기도 계속 그 팀이 계속 it repeats. 계속 you always have a very strong female counterpart. 그리고 여기서는 귀신이 더 좋은 사람들이야. 귀신이 나쁜 사람들이야. 귀신이 좋은 사람들이에요.
Yeah. This.
Yes, yes.
This is the book you're talking about, right?
Yeah,
Right. Okay. Oh, you have two, huh?
Oh yeah, we all have it. Trust me.
This is a Japanese soldier who invaded Korea at that time.
Right.
And then this is the guy who, this is a Korean officer.
Right.
Korean Navy officer. And
Naval
he's the one,
officer.
who did not keep his promise to these ladies.
약속을 안 지켰잖아요.
Right. So
Yeah.
this is where they end up. Oh, thank you very much.
No, everybody lifted it up. Everybody lifted
I don't
it up.
know. It's not
Everybody
easy
lifted
to
it
get
up.
it, but how you collect all these books?
Oh, I have. I was telling NammaN, I have probably 50 or 60 of your Charlton comics, and I'm working on getting them all. So.
Okay. And look at this, This is kind of thing.
Beautiful.
This is something U.S. never saw before. I'm first one who doing this.
Yep.
이게
Now everybody doing that, but at that time,
이게
this is kind of a sound effect,
right.
and you cannot hear it, but when you look at it visually, you understand what's happening, what kind
Right.
of sounds background. So
아톰
that's my
코리아.
limitation, but.
Yeah.
Right. That's the Korea, but it won't matter. You understood Korea or not.
Yeah.
But you can just feel it that way.
근데 영어로도 이게 영어로도 번역이 되는 게 있고 어떤 거는 영어로 번역이 안 돼요. 그러니까는 그냥 와지끄는 영어로 번역이 안 되잖아요, right? 그러니까
Actually, this is my creation, but now everybody doing that. But it doesn't matter.
This is
I'm doing a lot of things first,
되게 what was it? Lone Wolf. What's his name? Who did the Lone Wolf?
Frank Miller.
Roger?
Frank
Huh?
Miller. Frank Miller.
Frank Miller did the. He won the Eisner Award for becoming the first manga integrator for American comic book. That's 14 years after this book. That's 14 years after this book. You did it first.
Okay.
You are 14 years ahead of them, and you introduce the Korean manhwa style. You could say that's a manga style too, a little bit, but that was introduced 14 years ahead of, and it was your own story. It wasn't adaptation of a story. It wasn't copy of a story. You made your own story. This is original story. Now, 제가 그때 이걸 하실 때 거북선, 이순신 장군 그런 걸 그때 처음으로 하신 걸 생각하세요? 이게 처음이다.
Right. Yeah. From page they have the. Because I have to explain the kind of story behind what. That's when right. This is a spaceship, turtle ship.
The turtle ship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Admiral Lee, he's a national hero, and he winning. And some of Japanese invaded Korea, but they couldn't retreat. So a lot of them still, left southern part of the Korea, but this is people, hungry people, so they killed everybody. You know, they just becomes a bandit. Yeah, so this is when Southern Korea is very uneasy. It's like only part of the Western world. That's the situation behind the story. That's what.
Yeah, the historical context in your stories. NammaN and I were talking about it. It's amazing because your Korean War stories. You're from the different dynasties. You're obviously a historian at heart because all of them are so ingrained in your stories. So that makes it all the more authentic or authentic feeling. Your stories. It gives it that kind of realism to it.
That's another Korean Navy war.
Oh wow! What a battle!
Admiral Lee Sun-shin. He's that's I think most famous, not general, admiral in Korea. Okay.
Yeah, we got a few more questions from Otaku here. NammaN, if you want to put those up for Master Kim.
Yeah, you may do so.
Wow.
We can do this again. So you don't have to do everything today.
Okay.
How'd you come out? Okay.
Yeah.
We did that. Okay. 제가 보여드릴 게 있어요.
Okay.
화백님 제가 보여드릴 게 있는데.
Let me see.
네. 예, 아까 제가 조사를 잘한다고 그랬잖아요. I am a detective. I'm a detective.
Great investigator.
I am.
Yeah.
보여드릴 게 하나 있어요.
Okay.
이 책을 보면 이게 real life.
Okay.
Real life 이게 golden age 1948.
Right.
예. 그 거기 들어가 보면
Yeah,
Japan. 여기를 이렇게 보면
Yeah.
Korean turtle ship. Korean turtle ship. 근데 그 까만 이게 turtle ship이래요.
They don't know what turtle ship is.
No, they don't know what it looked like. No.
This is what makes me upset. At that time, a lot of American comic book, they cannot describe Japan, Qing Dynasty, or like China, Korea. For them, it's all the same. So I'm the one who's trying to describe it. This is not it. That's.
그러니까는 내가 이거를 이제 라이브러리 컨그레스까지 갔어요. 이거를 갖고.
오케이.
그래서 야 거북선이 처음 나온 만화책이 어떤 거냐? 그랬더니 이거래요. 거북선이 처음 나온 만화책.
No.
그래서 I say, okay, 이거는 거북선이 아니다. 이건 junkship이다. junkboat.
Right.
junkboat.
You are right.
이게 거북선이다.
Okay.
So this is a first occurrence of Kobukson, first appearance of 이순신 장군,
Generally,
General
Admiral Lee. Yeah.
and first 원균 장군도 들어있어요. 원균 장군.
Yeah, 원균 is he's a loser. He's a loser. He's Korean admiral, but he's
내가 이 만화책을 읽고 원균 장군님은 여기서까지 욕을 먹고 계시네.
Yeah, turtle is, turtle ship is like at that time the naval war is two ships together. Then they cross over. Then they fight with the swords. That's how they win it, you know. But Admiral Lee is they don't want to crash together. He just always space in 10 to 20 meter away. Then gunfighting. That's the first gunfighting battleships.
Right.
And if Japanese or enemy, coming over to our ships, then it's gonna be solid, all the spear around. So they cannot coming into my ships, You get first turtle like a half submarine. It's like a full submarine. You get half a submarine. That's what it is.
Right, right. 그래서 아니 근데 화백님은 이거 만화책을 그냥 만든 게 아니라 그러니까 한국 역사를 가리키는 거였어요. 이런 거에서도 보면 아까 태권도 말씀하셨잖아요. 그 태가 권 또 art.
Right.
It's more than a comic book. 이거는 없는데 every one of these is meant to teach history.
Oh boy, you got that too.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm surprised. That's really.
I mean, let's see.
And we have the wrong country from the Charlton Bullseye as well.
You collected more books than I have.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
Then let's see.
Well, you are comic book creator and all that, but we were collectors and readers and buyers, So we have all this stuff.
Your job is a lot easier than I do.
A lot easier, yeah. We just had to dish out the quarters,
Right. Oh my goodness.
There's another one, right? Yeah.
He's a great collector.
Okay.
Oh, I'm happy to see all my old job again. So look at that. Okay.
There's a turtle ship back there, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was telling you, that your stories, they have those historical artifacts or contexts, which make them all the more fascinating to me.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is where Wrong Country, remember we talked about that previously, where they never published it.
Oh, this.
Yeah.
This is the first time Taekwondo started coming up. So I'm
correct.
All those motions in there, that's really Taekwondo motions,
Yep. I had a roommate who was a Kung Fu master, Taekwondo master. So I know about the motions. When I read that way back when, I was like, hey, Mark, look at this. And he was like, yeah, that's correct. So you're right.
Mr. Nam, do me a favor. All this collection you have, you can make like a duplicate, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Can you copy duplicate and send over to me?
I will give you. I will send you a lot of these books.
That kind of things, I don't have it. It's my tickling my nostalgia.
Right.
Right.
Well, the Charlton Bullseye is hard to find, but we can certainly
company disappeared so long ago.
Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, of course, of course.
I knew it. That's my happens, but it's just very sad story. That's a good company.
그리고 이거 마지막 조금 너무 늦어서 그러는데.
It's okay.
One more question. 여기에. You have original art. 오리지널 아트 갖고 계세요? 이거에?
Original art?
예.
If I do, then I didn't ask to copy for that. I don't have it. I keep moving around, and then most of them are lost.
So, 아니 저기 이거 소세지에서는요. 소세지에서는.
Sausage I have.
이거는 갖고 계시고.
Yeah, I do.
이건 every page you have this.
Right.
Every page.
Oh.
Man. 저기
wow.
화백님이 일로 오셔야겠네.
Okay.
화백님. then you need to go to a convention in America and connect with us.
I'll try.
But this getting late. Roger, you have any more questions?
I do, but yeah, it's getting late. We can follow up another time.
Okay.
There, a lot of people
can do this again.
Otaku is saying thank you for for your works. He's a big fan. He's a friend of ours too.
A lot of
all
people
I can say is this: that we have so many questions that I think it would take forever to answer. But I do want this. I do want this one, right? And that is Wrong Country.
Why?
Is one of my, maybe it's not my favorite, it's one of my very favorite stories of yours. And I think it's a shame that was never published.
We can continue.
I think that is a superior comic to Yang that was produced by Charlton, by Sattler and Joe Gill. Was there a plan for that? Did you have a creative plan to take Wrong Country in a certain direction? Because you left it kind of at a cliffhanger. So I just was wondering if you had a more drawn out plan for it.
It's actually, that's my duty to do that. But I didn't. Bad guy. but
I
really, I have a lot of
these things.
Great
you don't fluff
value.
anything. You give us the right truth.
You just made the Xerox copy, and then let me have part of that.
No, certainly we will send it to you. Yeah, we'll send you a copy. But it's my favorite story because it's you're sending these gentlemen from Korea to the Western civilization to get the best of what they have. They're trying to help their country by advancing them, and yet they run into crooks and bigotry and all these obstacles. And I'm just fascinated to think what could have happened. The potential of that story to me was just off the charts. So I just wanted to let you know that was incredible story that I think would have been a big hit if it was able to be managed correctly here in the States.
Boy, I appreciate that. And then you make me so guilty now.
Not my intention, Master Kim.
I did not know. I'm crying that kind of.
It's all your fault.
Very sorry. But I appreciate that, and I really thank you very, very much.
Well, thank you for all the things you've created to give us so much pleasure over the years. It has, obviously for NammaN and I and many in the chat, it's really enhanced our love of this medium, and you've been a big part of that.
We do this once again. I mean, already,
sure.
So you can do again.
Oh yeah, we got more questions for you. Don't you worry. We got plenty more.
Okay. Okay.
마지막으로
Yes, sir.
this video was about reclaiming history. This video was about reclaiming history. 그러니까는 화백님의 역사를 다시 잡는 걸로. 미국에서 we need to wake up to it. Wake up to it because it's been just slipping in America, and there was so much breakthrough with your art, your storytelling. 이거는 화백님이 그림만 그린 게 아니라 you actually told this story that I used to listen to as a little boy, and these are, I mean, it's representing our culture, Korean culture. As a Korean American, I'm so thankful that you were able to tell these stories. And kind of jealous too, because I would like to tell that story. I would like to tell those stories. It's very, you know what I mean? But you already did it 50 years ago. You already did it, and that you've been telling these stories. Like I just found out about the Bambuela day before yesterday.
Oh,
I just found that out, and I'm going. Wait, I thought this was the Ghostly Tale was your first. No, it wasn't. Ghostly Tale wasn't the first. where you had a Korean language. These people were speaking Korean before they became a zombie, right?
Right.
좀비가 되기 전에는 한국말로 했어요. 근데 한국말 후에는 영어가 통하는 거야. And let me tell you another thing. 그 용녀.
Dragon Lady.
Yeah, one thing I noticed that about it is that way she spoke the language, way she spoke it is different.
Yeah.
It's perfectly written in English letters, but way she reversed it.
Yeah.
She sounded more like a Yoda.
Like somebody who's learning the language and is almost there, but doesn't quite get the syntax and the sentence structure.
Yeah, she got the language all mixed up, and I'm going, this is like Yoda. And what's the other guy in that Star Wars movie? What's that other character that has a "This is the way"? This is the way. I don't know if you know him, but you already
Mandalorian.
Yeah, Mandalorian. Yeah, the guy says this is the way, and he speaks all backwards, right?
Right.
Well, he did that in this. I don't have. I ordered that. That cost me $70-some. I ordered that.
Oh my gosh.
So, but
wow.
It's 캐면 캘수록 금이 나온단 말이에요, 화백님. 캐면 캘수록 금이 나와요. So I told them, every time I dig and dig, more gold comes out. So you still have a story to tell to this comic book community.
Yeah.
And
we still have to get those Eries too. So we haven't gotten those yet.
Yeah, I didn't get those Eries. Yeah. So anyway, 화백님 정말 감사합니다. 오늘은 너무 늦었으니까 이거 끝나고 조금 말씀 좀 나누시고 let's think about this. Let's think about this. Okay.
I appreciate it.
Okay, Mr. Kim.
Thank you very much. Thank you again.
Okay, we'll see you soon. Hopefully.
I'm sorry to you for the wrong country.
No, that's okay. Hey, I'm thankful for the part that I got. Okay.
Thank you.
All right.